Boarding requested. Do you want to board crew? Pilot's boarding starting. Crew boarding starting. Your crew has boarded. Passengers boarding starting.
Hello. Hello. This way, please. Hello. Hello. This way. Good morning. Hello. Welcome on board. May I see your boarding pass? May I see your boarding pass?
Angry, the CRJ 900, great looking aircraft. Think so, yeah? It's quite nice, isn't it? It's like a little sleek pencil job. Perfect for a little regional hour flight, hour and a half flight things. I've got all of them here. I've got the 5, 7, the 9, and the 1000. I was going to get the Embraers, but they're still experimental beta, so I went for this one as a finished sort of thing. But maybe I shouldn't have. It's Aerosoft. Right, I'm parked over on the west apron. Yeah. Yeah. Face south. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm doing the same. Okay, so why hasn't that started?
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Why the fuck is the fail to deploy?
Locking gear.
Got bugs to hell, is you know him. Yeah, I can't even deploy, look.
Release parking brakes, please. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Boys.
Okay. What does it say? Generators.
Boys,
auto.
any idea why
Okay.
it's not every time I click on it, a garrison or an outpost or a boat or a helicopter, it's saying cannot spawn at this location.
Overall steering armed.
Please set
Taxi.
parking brake.
Flaps.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Five. What was my flaps? Flaps were 8. Flaps were 8. Flaps 8. There we go.
Tow truck disconnected.
Controls checked.
Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Light controls. Left, right, down, up. These. Left, right. That's good.
That's the host button.
Thrust reversers armed. That's these beauties there, isn't it? Armed. Light instruments, brake temperature. Before takeoff, lights and strobes. Fuel crossflow to manual. Cruel. Gravity, X-flow or auto? Damn, which one? Fuel crossflow manual. Manual, that one. Flight attendant advised transponder on and set. Where's that? Over here. Walk. Hopefully that's it. Stand by. Here we go. On.
Fuck them, lad.
Don't know. Transponder TCAS on set. TCAS off. It's down. Yeah. Yeah, I've got here. Look, ATC. It says standby. So how do you get it to on? Press it. What, over here? Oh, that just goes flight ID or squawk. Up here's the standby. How do I get it onto? It just says Alt, off or on, that one. Yeah. It's still saying standby. I don't know how to. What about second page? It's CON1, CON2. TCAS. What's this? Auto. Yeah. Normal. Above. Normal. Traffic on. Mode. Auto. Standby. TA only. Auto. Leave it on auto then. That should run. Yeah. Leave it on auto, and it might crack on when we get going, and then CAS checked. CAS. That's kind of the recall, isn't it? Where's the CAS? There's CAS. There it is. Click. Yeah, there we go. So reversers on, parking brake on, manual crossflow, no smoking and seatbelts. That's it. Hey, ready to go. Let's taxi. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same, you know, I'm sure the designers got their spec from the airlines and said, right, we want short haul, 100-seater, can fly, you know, 1,200 miles, 2 engines, it's got to be efficient. And I'm sure Bombardier's computer, along with Embraer, come out with virtually the same design to fit the spec of what it is here. You taxiing down, or are you still? Oh, okay. I'm going down there. Thank you. No, I can go to the end. Down Charlie. I'm going down Charlie, and then yeah, to wait right, yeah. That's what I'll do. Yeah. Okay, I'm about to cross 19 right. I don't know why I do this. There's nobody coming. We're not already online, but it's a habit, isn't it? I just check when I'm going across runways. Not with a new aircraft that I'm not familiar with. I'm not going to risk that. I can just about get it going in the air without having to bat sim controls. Yeah. Yeah, we had some rain here overnight, which is great. Not a lot, but it was much needed. Much needed. If Jack was here, he'd be telling me off. I'm going too fast. Okay, there's right, and I see you there. I'm just coming up to the holding point behind you there.
Oh my God, where is it?
Oh. Oh. Right. So, strobe, landing lights. I think that's everything we need. Some signs, seatbelts, auto. Hey, there he goes. Right. Lining up. Sky West, 400, lining up, 28 left.
Good one. Rotate. Positive rate.
Go. What the toga is, I'm just slamming forward. Got TOTO on there, but 7, that's quite... Oh, that's V2, isn't it? V1. Rotate. No call-outs in this. Yeah. No call-out. No. AP. Nav. Where's the VNav? Is there a VNav you collect? speed. Halt. What was the top? So we wanted 330. So what do you do for speed climb? Is it just speed, I suppose? IAS. Right. Yeah, it's yeah. Because I'm doing something here? No, I think nav. It just follows all of this anyway. So whatever's programmed in here, I think it will just follow this. So there we go. And it's following. It's turning round. We've got FMS and we've still got TO in here, so got FMS1 and still TO. Did that corner wrong, so it's recorrecting now. Yeah, it did, but it overdid it, so it's now correcting back to the right to go to port. Port is the next one, 6 miles. Right, there's our 10,000, so we turn all that off. And turn that off. What else does it say? Leads and APU, thrust reversers off, and CAS checked. Okay, thrust reversers off, CAS checked. Okay, nothing, it's just no smoking. So that's all good. IX is next, so it's turning left for KX, 95 miles out. Speed's climbing. I haven't set anything, so I presume it's doing it itself from the programmed. Uh-oh. Why is it going to hit the overspeed? Empire! It's going to hit the overspeed. Yeah. gone speed hold now, or speed select, and selected 300. That's about right, isn't it? That'll do. Interesting. I need to watch Sim CFI, who flies this. This is his day job. Yeah, I need to watch his videos. It's the usual thing, Empire, isn't it? Too many planes, too little time. Okay, it's pulling the speed back. I haven't set that now. It's pulling back the speed.
Oh, Empire, what the hell's happened to your stream, mate?
That's deliberate, mate. Deliberate.
But you open and got Ian open. Ian's looks perfect. Yours is just messed up him. Why are you doing that, like? Why are you doing that on Switch? Do you mean I know why?
Have you read the post?
No?
Oh, you ought to read that.
Where have you put this post in? Discord?
Stream schedule, you'll read it.
Do you know, I don't see the point in it, but if that's where you're gonna have your stream, you might as well just not even do it on Switch. No, I'm not saying you shouldn't be streaming, but if you're gonna have your stream looking like that, mate, then there isn't really much point because no one can see anything. But the point is for you to stream so we can watch it. People can watch it.
Iron Man, hello mate. CRJX, yes. Yeah, we're flying Empire's American Monday flight with him. Yeah. It's a learning curve. I've got one bug already in this that I've discovered. That this multifunction display is stuck on this screen. I can't change it. Change this one. Change that one, but this one's stuck on this side. Just did a turnaround. H&L headed to Salt Lake City now. 767.
Nice one for that, bro.
Nice. That doesn't make sense, Umpire. You've got 5 people watching that. Or 6 people now. I'm just telling you off. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got you. Oh, I've got you. Absolutely, it's beautiful. Yeah, yeah, it's not a problem there. But as I say on the stream, you may as well not bother. To be honest, I mean, if you're going to do that, I mean, what's going to happen there? You're going to get people complaining to Twitch that you're not, you know, your streams looks bad, and you know, all the rest of it. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't bother. I'd just give it a rest and just come on. Just do what Dan does, private streaming. Or you switch off, or you chat, you know? Don't have chat at all. Closed. No comments. Yeah. They can't type, yeah. Yes, yeah. Right, alt cap. So is this, well, is this going to level off? I think it is. Right, so the speed knob has disappeared. data. Wind. VNav. Next page. Right, the cruise is 300 or 0.74. 300.74. There we go. Mach decimal 74. Oh, it's going up a bit. Well, it should be 74, but it seems to be climbing. 75, 76, so... How does it... Is it meant to... Yes, Mac. And I don't know what it's... 270. M7. Seven, 8. It's climbing again now. Get it to... You pull it back by hand, I wonder. Surely this has got automatic throttle. It was in the climb detent, but it was just going too fast. It was going... Iron Man. No auto throttle, yeah. Got to do it by hand. That's what I thought. Come to that conclusion. So
Why does this
bring
not...
it back.
This game is still bought to hell, you know. Doesn't even spawn you where you want to spawn.
So having speed is irrelevant then, if you've got to hold it. Why would you have the speed button and a selector if you control the speed by the throttle power. Don't understand that, but anyway. Speed is for climb. Speed is for climb. IAS climb. Got it. Got it, yeah. It's a standard IAS, then you select. Well, you wait till you get to the speed you want, hit that, and then the aeroplane will pitch up to maintain that speed when you go in the climb G10. So yeah, I understand that. TCAS still off. Found it, Empire. Found it. ATC select. Standby or 1 or 2. There it is. So just select one of these systems. So there's nothing to do what was in the radio here. It's activated now. See, they're on green. There we are. Learned something. Oh, right. Yeah, I could see that coming straight away. I mean, that was obvious. Yeah. It was. I have to say, it wasn't your best, smartest thing, that, but.
I know it's hard, mate, right? And I know it's not me that's getting these fucking stupid comments and messages and things coming through. Just ignore them, man. Yeah, just ignore them, mate. Just carry on doing what you do. If Twitch are gonna do anything to you, or YouTube are gonna do anything to you, the first thing they're gonna do is watch the stream. So let them knobheads who want to report you and want to fucking throw false accusations. Let them do it, mate. Just ignore them. Just don't rise to it no more. I told you this in the past, mate. They're not enough fucking dickheads. Just ignore them. Yeah, but I want to know who it is that's reporting you. There's only 5 people watching you, mate. There's only AV, the Ian Fisher, Ketch and Strada. Who's Strada? You don't know who Strada is? Okay then. Strada, unfortunately, mate, right? Right. See that up here? Yeah, you don't know who this is. Why not? If you get reports, you don't know who it is. It's not going to be AV, it's not going to be Ian, it's not going to be Ketch.
Oh yeah, all that is enabled, cats. It's I think it's not just on Twitch, it's everywhere. They go through Discord and that just by just end up blocking them. But the ones I keep getting is stupid anyway. Like they don't like a music that I play, so they like attack me for playing one music because I don't like it, you know. Next minute they report me or don't like how I'm flying, so it's like, oh okay, I don't like how you're flying, that's unrealistic. Boom, gonna attack you for that. And my top of descent is almost here as well, I think. Okay, so I'm doing 220 knots at 26,000 feet. And I think, Ian, you must be ahead of me.
I am. Right. Zati is next. 30 miles. Zati.
Oh,
Z-A-R-T-I.
have you
30
passed?
miles.
You passed Echo Hotel Foxtrot?
I must have.
Okay.
Zati, Lando, and then top of drop.
I'm
And then blue, PMD, flavour, Majak.
I'm 38 miles to Echo Hotel Foxtrot, which is before Zardi.
Ah, right, I've passed that. I'm 5 miles past Echo Hotel Foxtrot. 5 miles past it.
Yeah, that's true. It gets to the point now, why bother streaming if I'm just, you know, I mean, if I'm hiding my 3, that is gone to emote only, and slow mode is enabled for 120 seconds. So like Ian said, what's the point? But that's not the case, because it's back to normal now.
Yeah, the trolls are going to troll whatever you do. All you're doing here is just stopping the genuine people watching.
Making it worse for them, aren't I?
Yeah, that's the only thing. I reckon. Because you're not going to stop the trolls trolling, because as you say, they can still go ahead and do their reports or whatever they want to do. Or whatever you do on the stream.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. What's the temperature?
You read that in?
What's that?
I just said yeah.
In a second. I'm just putting in my arrival information in.
I hope this is all automatic.
For your
I don't know where to put anything in here.
You have your approach prep page.
Well,
Forgot to put mine in manually. Obviously.
yeah. Progress, performance. Progress. Radio. That's on auto, so that should slip over. Message. Index. Legs. Can't find one. Approach data. Maybe that's it. Yeah, there we are. Frequency. 11135. Yeah, that's already in. 3 degrees. Runway threshold. Yeah. Arrival data is in. but it hasn't told me where to put the all the flaps and everything and all that stuff. Speed, I don't know what that is. I'll just manually fly it anyway, get close. I need to watch some videos on this. About how to do the control. The autopilot stuff. What you select for when. Do I leave it on FMS or do I flick it over to VOR, the ILS? God knows. God knows.
Jesus Christ, that made me jump.
Ketsu979
Hey,
underscore
Kets.
has just subscribed.
Just subscribed with your Prime. Is that a specific number or your first month? I think it was 4 months now, is it? I think. I know you subscribed once before in the past, but has it been 4? Oh, we got the right frequencies here. Appreciate for using your Prime on me. Appreciate it. Not a clue. In company with 900 Bitos. Is that 9 or 1,000? I can't count. I'm a pilot, not a Bitos.
Ketsu979 underscore cheered X900, not a clue, D.
That was close. 900 Bitos as we got a plane went past us. We just got a plane went past us and I was miles away, didn't even see it. Another one over there. Got some traffic near us. All my information's in, so I think for you, Ian, you'd be landing manually? Question mark.
Yep, absolutely.
point.
I've got. I don't know where to put anything in.
It's
I've got an ILS. I'm hoping it's automatic.
need VR.
but I don't know what to switch. When to switch away
So,
from FMS.
So, well, firstly, you need to know if you can program your frequencies in. I mean,
Yeah, well-
it sounds like to me you can't do it automatic. It doesn't do it automatically. Not in that
It
type
does.
of it.
Radio.
It does.
It's got auto on the RAD page.
Okay. Because for me on my E-Jet, I click on the radio page, and I can put in my frequencies on the nav 1 and nav 2, and then switch it
Yeah,
over into
it's-
active.
Yeah, I could do that if I went to manual.
Yep.
But because it's in
And then-
auto.
Okay. What about the one-way heading? Got that?
I guess you put that up in course up in here, don't you?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So that is 258. Put that on there.
Hey, lad, download.
But,
It does if you can get it. If you get the right settings all correct.
yeah, I mean, I don't know where to see it. Because I haven't got a map, and it doesn't change it on that one as well.
It usually displays it on your main display screen.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it will be on your. Okay.
That isn't changed, and this side isn't changed either.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, no problems. No problems. We'll be landing in. Going to have to hand fly it. I'm trying to find this problem.
I shouldn't have done this without knowing how to fly it.
And
It's madness.
I'm trying to think what it's similar with. That obviously is completely different.
I'll just follow the FMS until it.
Yeah. When you
works.
when you inserted the approach information, it did had an option to select either as Yankee or Zulu.
Yeah.
26.
That was at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, it should have all the information there and then inserted for you.
Yeah.
It's like in Boeing, you select your runway and your star, and you transition,
Yeah, it's got.
and that's it.
Yeah,
It doesn't allow
absolutely.
you to put in your ILS in. You have to do it manually.
Yeah, it's got all that in. So hopefully it'll switch when it gets down there.
In the 737, you wouldn't say ILS, it'd just say runway, and that's it. Put in and you tune it in yourself. But then this aircraft has it as well. I still have to tune it in myself.
Yeah, but then you've got to flick it over to 4-lock, haven't you?
When you're on
navigation.
yeah, you do. Once you're on final, you've got to activate
So I'll
the
flip this,
switch.
the nav source onto VOR, and then I've got to hit the approach button
Yeah.
at some point.
At least that we are flying in America. You know what that means?
Yeah. I've already decided. We're already going down now.
Long approaches.
Yeah. 'Cause there's no VNAV on this, so I'm just going on VS.
No VNAV.
No, there's no VNAV.
What year is that aircraft again? Like 1980s or something?
There must be. There's an option. You can select the VNAV and it'll put you a VNAV button in. But most CRJs didn't have it.
Yeah. It's got the nav. Just the nav, no R nav, no B nav.
Yeah. I need to watch some more SimCFI videos. It's the problem, we don't fly it enough, do we? I need to fly it like now for the next 2 weeks solid. Then I'll know all about it.
Got your top of descent.
I'm already going down, mate.
I'm just saying, does it indicate when its top of descent is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in here. Yeah. It was, TOD was here.
Yeah, that's good. Hmm. I'm gonna open this up and see if it works.
Boys in there, so we're going to go through this gap here, round. Awesome Pigeon, hello! Welcome to the flight deck of the CRJ. That I've got absolutely no idea how to fly or program or do anything. So this is going to be very interesting.
Oh, there we go. Right, I've got it working. Yeah, that's better. Oh no, it's too much now. I can't win. Give me a second. Oh boy. Oh. Oh, crap. Jesus. That program, Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
That program called Beam, yeah? Beam eye
You got
tracking.
it?
If I click this button, you can see it now. See it moving my head.
Yeah.
Took me to almost an hour to get it sorted, and I still haven't got it right.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
I need to click this button again. There we go. So what I'm doing is by moving my head, it allows me to look anywhere that I need to look at it.
Yeah, it's good
And
about
then
it.
on my stream deck, I've got two buttons. One is to recenter, you know, because every so often it gets uncentered. And then the other
Yeah.
one is to disable it and turn it off, and it then goes back to normal.
Cool, man.
Because the thing that I'm having, which I fixed it now, which you had, as soon as you disable eye tracking, the camera ends up being stuck at this direction, for example, and then it gets stuck there. And chase plane starts messing up, doesn't it? You know why that is?
Why is that?
You go into chase plane settings, you go to menu, preference, control assignment, go down to, is it camera movements? Camera action, I think. Go down until you look for a config, there you go. Joggle head tracking. You have to combine these two buttons. Once you combined it, it solves a lot of issues. So when you turn on your eye tracking software, you want to turn on head tracking joggle at the same time. You can turn it off, disables it. That way you don't mess up your cameras.
Cool, man.
That's
I'll
all
have a play
it
on the
was.
weekend, mate. I'll have a play with it on the weekend. As I say, I ain't got the camera plugged in, it's just sitting on the shelf here. Oh my god.
Look, like, so you can tell, I'm moving my head now. I can zoom in. Yeah. But if you're watching the stream, it might make you all dizziness.
What about it, mate? It's only a little snitch watching it anyway, isn't it? Someone who's fucking reporting you for shit, so don't believe it makes them sick.
Okay. Make it worse then.
If it makes the person who's snitching you, if it makes them, the person who's snitching you up, mate, or reporting you every now and again for some stupid crap, then good, innit?
Right, what's your distance now?
Don't know. 2 miles to High Top.
What's the high top? Okay, I am literally coming to Flavour. I'm literally 19.5 miles from Flavour. It's a weird. Yeah, it's funny flying this part of the film. Interesting names. Thank you. Flavour to Majak, high top, Nitty, Ziggy.
Yeah.
You're going to Nitty and Ziggy after.
Yeah.
Got scenery for this place. No. No. Well, for some miracle reason, I'm on final. That's good. Is it captured?
Yeah, it's got the localizer waiting for the glide.
Didn't have to do anything then.
Nope.
Okay.
automatic. Apart from just do the speed and hit the nav source, change the nav source to localizer and hit the approach button. But I don't know what the numbers are or anything. I don't know what, what flaps to give it, or so I'll give it everything.
Yeah. Without knowing the aircraft capabilities, the minimum speed and all that, yeah. I mean, well, based on my aircraft type, it's about 130. If I go full flaps, I can do 130.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm going to go down to about that because there's no guide.
And we're about the same size aircraft types.
Right, so.
But I've got engines on the wings, you've got yours on the back.
Okay, so why hasn't it connected the GS? So it's not, it's still white. It's not captured the glide. Okay. I'll turn all that off now then, do it myself.
Got time, I'm still miles out.
It's not captured the glide. GS was in white and it was armed, but it just the diamond went straight through it. Didn't capture it.
Like another extra button you didn't click or something, or wrong frequency, something.
Well, no, the localizer's in, and I could see the I could see the diamond coming down.
Yeah, just wouldn't go down.
And it went through the thing, but it didn't capture it.
Must be
Yeah, I just need to watch this more. Right, flaps are in, gears down.
You go over these mountains quite low, don't you?
Yeah.
First turn.
If you're after armed these or not, or are they automatic? Who knows?
2500.
Just fly the jet now, that's all. Not interested in anything else. Yeah.
I believe the terminals is to the right. The terminals are to the
Okay.
You're not stopping. Maybe you got your.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just messing about with the. That's reverse, but it goes in, but then nothing happens. It doesn't fire it up. So I've got reverse toggle. Where is it? To the right or left?
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've got the reverse in. So there's the things go up, but nothing happens. The throttles don't go out of toga. I mean idle. They engage the reverse, but nothing happens with it. Push forward, nothing happens. I need to look at that as well. Is it straight across, or do we turn back halfway down?
You've got Terminal 2 just to the right of you. Oh, you've got to go
Okay.
across the runway first, and then you've got Terminal 2 to the right, which is mostly, you know, in a straight line, and you've got Terminal
Yeah.
1 that is slightly on a slant just to the left. But if you end up getting off on Quebec, just pick anywhere to park, because that's Terminal 2.
So Terminal 2 then.
Yeah. Runway's in sight. This is part of LA, isn't it? This airport. Like it.
I just want a remote spot, because these things don't work well with the jetways. They're too small.
Between Terminal 2 and 4, there is emote.
There is some there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right, I'm on my way.
So it's further up, you will
Where's
see
that to?
some areas that emote.
Yeah. There we are. Yeah, we'll dump it in there somewhere. So 301. That'll do.
500. 400. 100. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Okay, so how do you ask for deboarding then?
Auto brake.
God knows. How
Has it
much
got
to
it
do.
built in, or you might have to use it?
Well, I'm stopped here at this thing here at 301. But GSX, there isn't a thing. I haven't got like deboard. I haven't got. How do you,
Oh. Oh. But
customize airport position?
TSX doesn't even detect you parking at a ramp,
No.
that's why.
No.
Does it even have a 301 on the select gate? Oh.
No.
Well, 301 does exist. I mean, I can see it on my charts.
Yeah. Nope.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Does it have 302 or 303 even? Or any 300?
No. No 3 O's. It's got 2 O's and 4 O's.
Oh.
So Terminal 2 and Terminal 4. And then it's got the FedEx and Amazon cargo and UPS cargo.
The opposite direction.
And not customized. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Yeah.
Might not have it myself if you and I have got the same scenery.
Yeah.
Wait a second, when I park on 302. Oh, interesting. If you open up GSX again, Ian, and it says select from map, it's handy now.
GSX.
It's select from map. Tells you all the gates and ramps available.
Position. What?
But the ones that you park at now doesn't exist.
Select from map. Yeah, I'm in here. N1.
Yeah,
They don't exist.
yeah.
They don't exist. So that's why. That's fine.
It
It's
needs to
not
be
broken,
added.
it's just not,
Yeah, it just needs
yeah,
to
it's
be
just
added.
not there. That's alright. Right, well, that needs much more.
Practicing.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to reload and do all that.
Oh. Lucky you park on the jetway. I mean, on the ramp.
Yeah.
I think your aircraft is slower than mine, hence why you can't park next to a jetway. Makes sense though, 'cause
Oh,
it
there
is
you are.
quite low.
Hello.
Yep, I'm parked up.
I dare say it would work, but generally,
Do you
with
think?
these sort of things, they
Yeah.
don't go on jetways anyway in real life.
Do you
They use
think
their own
that?
stairs.
Do you think the E-Jet is bigger? It looks bigger.
Looks, yeah, looks chunkier, doesn't it? But this
Yeah.
this one's longer, thinner. It's a pencil, like the MDs.
Well, mine is longer. Depends on the variant you're looking at. I'm in
Yeah.
the 195, which is the longest variant.
Uh-huh.
I'm not.
I'm in the 900. There's
Yeah.
1,000 on these. There's the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 1,000.
You in the 1,000 or the 9?
This is the 9.
Quick.
So 97 passengers. 97
Oh yeah.
in the 900. What's the E-Jet got?
So the E-Jet can take 146 passengers. Well, this one can.
Right.
It's larger, wider, wing-engined,
Mm-hmm.
short-haul jet seated up to 124 to 146 passengers, while the CRJ-9 is narrower, rear-engine jet seated up to 76 to 90 passengers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So the CRJ 1000 then it'd be more equivalent to one of those because that's a
yeah.
bigger.
Let me have a quick look.
Right. So what happened there? I had a sub come in. Oh, it was Captain Sticky Rice gifted a tier 1 to Iron Man. Thank you, Sticky. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. On behalf of Iron Man, I'm sure he'll be along to say thank you anyway. You're very kind. Extremely kind, sir. There we are.
Yeah.
So it's an American Monday flight, Sticky, with Empire kicking. And we're in California. And I took the CRJ for my sins, and I don't know how to fly it. But I got here without crashing, so is that a success? Is that a win? You take that?
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got many more to do yet. American Monday flights. I've got a big list here. So out of
Yeah.
San Francisco, I got one flight in the 175 E-Jet and one flight left in the 195. And then in the 737-700, I got two more flights out of that. In the 777, I got 9 flights. That's out of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got Denver and Miami to do yet. I've got a list of that. And on my list as well, the Boeing 757, which I can't do yet because there isn't one.
Do you want to borrow mine? Captain Sim.
Yep. God.
It's lovely. It's a lovely 7.5 and the 7.6. I like flying those.
Bluebirds is coming out with one anyway soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
So we wait till then.
Yeah.
But I got like 6 flights I can do straight away planned out of Miami and Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So places like Denver to LA, which is 2.5 hours, Boston, LAX, Salt Lake. So when that plane comes out, at least I've got like 7 flights I can do. So this American Monday flight, Ian, I've been doing this for 4 years now, I think. 3-4 years now.
I think you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-stop,
Absolutely.
every Monday. Hence why I've got so many airports in America.
Sticky says flying to Denver and listening to John Denver.
of times been out of Denver. Crazy. But the amount of times listened to John Denver is none. It's none. So maybe next time we fly to Denver, Ian, we need to play him. Let me get it submitted.
Have you got another short one you could do tonight, or is that it?
Oh, that's it. I only plan to do one. I mean, the next one's going to be 2 hours and 20 minutes, but that's out of San Francisco again. Time now, it's 8:30. I only got an hour anyway, so it's not enough time to do the return. Time we set up and whatnot, it'll be 9 o'clock. Unless you want to do a return?
No, I need to learn it more.
Yeah.
But look at that overhead. Look at the difference. Oh, we missed it then. Let me see if I can get it. Hang on a minute.
Where guy's bouncing.
There we are, look.
Oh
I see
yeah.
the difference now.
Yeah.
How thin and tiny it is compared to yours.
Your wing is shorter than mine.
Yeah.
We change you into a 9000 to see the difference. So you got the 900. What's the CRJ? Is it the CRJ1 for 100 or 1000?
This is the 9 I've got.
Yeah.
There's the 5, 7, 9, and 1000.
Two, 7, 9. Goes to 2. Oh, it must be the X-ray then. There you go. I found you in 1000, Ian.
Yeah, looks it's still slimmer. Obviously, you can see the extra length.
Yeah, it's the
Still
length.
a very
Yeah.
narrow pencil job, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's a longer pencil. That's all it is. But the wing's slightly obviously longer, but not much longer. At least with the CRJ, you won't have to worry about tail strikes. Look at where my wheels are based on my aircraft. Like, if I lift up the nose too much, it's the easy way to get a tail strike.
It's very forward centered, isn't it?
Yep. Very. And a lot of people do make that mistake when flying it, especially not familiar with the E-Jet.
So, I mean, you've almost got to lift off just about 5 or 6 degrees for the first few seconds, and then go up to 10 or 12.
Yeah.
If you went straight to 10, you'd be, as you say, scraping.
Yeah. But you can take off at a very low speed as well. The V1 rotation speed isn't as high. I can easily do about 135, 140. But like you said, you slowly lift up your nose. Wait until you get a bit of altitude before you can start putting your nose up a bit more. Just getting that clearance. You can take off from smaller one. But it depends on the variant. If you fly in the 170 or 175, it's smaller again. So it's not as long.
Yep.
So more likely not going to have a tail strike. It's like
Yeah.
it's not as long.
Well, this morning I flew the Constellation from Gander to Shannon across the Atlantic. That was good. 6.5 hours. And then jumped into this for you, with you. So, but now I'm going to go and watch SimCFI fly this, and then I'm going to do some more legs on it, try and get a better understanding of it.
Sounds like you'd be flying this all week.
Well, yeah, a few days I think at least. But I do want to get into the 727 again.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing that tomorrow.
And the L1011, I want to get that going again.
What about the Fokker?
Yeah, again, you see, I was going to take that today. I had that selected, to be honest, and then I moved along and I thought, oh, this looks more suitable. I think closer match to what you've got. So I went for this in the end, thinking, yeah, I can remember how to fly it. No chance.
I need to get back in the Fokker myself, but we got the older version, not the new 1000.
Yeah, 28. Yeah, the 28.
Which, to be honest, after flying the F28 for a while, I don't see the point in getting the 1000. Other than it's longer, bigger, and it's more up to date with avionics. I'm happy with the F28. Much more hands-on with the analog system. It's not that hard to fly. But again, I haven't flown it for such a while. It's gonna take a while to get back into it. This must be a big Amazon Prime warehouse department. Anyway, that's it.
What's Dan watching? Some sort of people at a gate. Oh,
Watching police chases, mate.
police chase. All right. Ah,
Blue lights.
you like police chases, right? I've not watched that stuff. I thought you were going to do a game. You said that's why you couldn't fly.
Yeah, I did. I turned it off, mate.
Ah. some idiots around, don't they, who think they can outrun the police.
Yeah, absolute weapons, mate. Just stop.
Yeah.
I mean, why
You're
bother?
never gonna. They either end up crashing, which is sort of 90% of the way, or they run out of fuel, or they just give up. So
I just think, you know, it's not just you that you're putting in danger. You're putting everybody else on the road, and
Yep.
you know, that busy. As much as I don't like the police, you're putting his life in danger as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turn his lights off.
At least the police are they signed up for this. I mean, this is part of what they signed up for. But it's the general public who they come across. That's the ones that. What's he doing? Ramming him.
Yeah. Once the copper able to get his face, then they know who he is, and then they can get him down the road anyway. As if he doesn't leave the country. Obviously, was he chasing him for anyway? For speed or stolen vehicle?
Don't know.
You just seen it, and it aroused his suspicions. So we started to follow it, and this fella just booted it.
Single crew as well. Could be dangerous if there's 2 or 3 of. But mainly they usually run away, don't they? And they usually go for the driver, don't they?
Yeah.
Not the passengers.
Occasionally, might have a helicopter as well. Above, don't they?
Oh.
Aiming.
Oh, there's a head-on.
Another police car destroyed.
The Dodgems.
These police cars come out of taxpayers' money, aren't they?
Where are they going now? Across fields.
What have you done, Dan? We got it. We made us hooked.
Oh. Was that it? What's the end of it? We didn't see the end of that.
Coming up.
Right.
Okay.
There we go.
Right. I'm gonna do that. You're finishing up as well, Ian, I gathered. So
Yes,
I'm
going
going
to finish now.
to
I'm
do is find someone to raid.
Yep, same.
So I got. Oh, he's doing 7 days to die. So
Yeah, I'm myself, boys. R8, go and chill.
Yeah.
yep.
Back to the ground.
Virtual game at 84. Hello, matey.
Oh God.
Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that. So there was Constellation flight this morning. Gander to Shannon at 6.5 hours. And then we had that CRJ flight down from San Francisco to Ontario International in California.
Los Angeles, actually. It's one of the districts.
So yeah, I need to watch more SimCFI's videos on that and get a better understanding of how the thing worked. I mean, we got there eventually, but skin of our teeth sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and watch a few of those now. So let's go and send you to.
Right.
I think we'll go to Nate. I think we'll go to Nate.